Hi guys, wish you all a very good evening. Can you guys hear me? Just wanted to do a cross check and then we can kickstart and take it from there. If you can give me thumbs up or comment in the chat box, I think that will be really great so that we can really pick this up. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We would be covering one of the most frequently asked question to us and, of course, to the fraternity at large, which is why US CPA for ACCA students. And again, I'm just circling off ACCA student over here, but effectively, there is a broader question that we all have to get an answer for, which is why US CPA? So before we really go in there, let me introduce myself. My name is Pankaj Dhingra, and I'm a proud FinTrammer and, of course, US CPA by profession. I've been working with various corporate students across the globe. I have worked with Wipro as their head of finance, then moved as head of finance for BlackRock. And off late, I've been working with Boston Consulting Group as their head of finance. All throughout my journey, of course, US CPA has played a very vital role in terms of reaching where I reached, and of course got getting what I really got over a period of time. And we would be discussing a lot of that as we go forward, and we'll discuss forward in terms of the things that I really intended to cover today. But before we really go in there, the folks who are really looking and of course watching us on the YouTube, I would request you guys to please subscribe to our channel FinTram Global, just to make sure that you're getting these informative videos very handy for yourself. All right, moving on, guys. I really want to cover a big broad agenda today, which is what you're seeing over here. I really want to talk through while I would be talking on in terms of why US CPA for CA students or BCom or the MComs and so on and so forth. I really want to spend some time in terms of discussing what this qualification is all about. And of course, then we'll move on to the eligibility criteria in terms of what US CPA qualification eligibility is all about. We'll also talk on the US CPA exam pattern. We'll want to discuss on CA versus US CPA any which ways, because that is the topic for the day. And of course, towards the end, we'll cover why US CPA, because that's gonna be the game changer for all of you who are really looking forward and of course thinking through this as a qualification. So I really want to touch upon that in terms of why we think that US CPA qualification is there for us and what advantages we can have it in the medium to long run in terms of what we can really achieve. Towards the end, we'll also touch upon the Q&A in terms of discussing the questions that we have from you. We will be spending good amount of time in terms of discussing all of that, and of course chatting through in terms of what you may really need my help on in terms of answering your queries. So that's the plan that I have, and that's what we really intend to cover. But before we will go in there, I do have a poll coming up your way, my friend. I have crafted a question that I really want an answer for, because I would while I'll be covering the topics that I've shown over here, I really want to cover a few important areas what you really want me to cover. So I'm launching a poll right now, my friend. You have to, it has 4 choices. There is a question and has, it has 4 choices. You have to click one quickly and send it back to me so that at least I know, what I'm really looking forward to. I'm launching that right away, my friend. You just have to answer it. Click one and get it going. I needed the answer of this question primarily to ensure that I get the perspective as to what you are really looking forward to from this webinar, so that at least I can help you in terms of what you may get out of this in terms of the output. I'll ensure that you get the right output from it, just to make sure that you have what you really need. So would request all of you to have a look on the question, which is like, why did you choose to attend this webinar? And there are 4 reasons to it, what we feel would be relevant for you. So if you can really click one, that will be really helpful for us to, get a perspective on in terms of, what this is all about. Guys, you have 1 more minute to answer this. I would appreciate if you can give your inputs onto this for me to really understand, of course, and of course, take my discussion all through in terms of, what you really wanted to cover so that I can really target that question or target that area specifically for yourself. Ramesh, Anusha, Netik, Priyesh, can you please quickly answer this? All right, guys, I'm ending the poll at least to understand as to where we are and how we should uh, we should be looking at to it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see the results over here accurately, but at least the perspective that I have is that many of you is very, many of you want a different question for or different answer for yourself for all of these 4 areas in terms of, you're looking at the global career options. You are certainly thinking about, how should you get familiar with US CPA, and of course, some of you have already made your mind with regards to US CPA and you really want to know more. And that's what we would be targeting in this webinar today. Thank you very much, guys, for whosoever you have answered that. I think that's the good or a vital starting point for all of us to really take this forward. All right, moving on to the slides that we really want to cover today. To start with, my friend, I really want to spend out a moment of time in terms of explaining what US CPA qualification is all about. And in the layman's terms, I'm more getting as layman's as possible. Like we have the chartered accountants in India, and of course, it is being governed by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. In US, we have certified public accountants, the CPAs. And CPAs are being governed by American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. They are the ones who administer this qualification. That is the regulatory body for all of the CPA qualified candidates like myself. In India, mostly what we do is the chartered accountancy, and we know that this is being based out of the Indian accounting standards, Ind AS, as we may want to call it, while in US, the CPA, the certified public accountants, are learning and doing the US GAAP, that is US generally accepted accounting principles, or US GAS, which is generally accepted auditing standards. So that's what we cover in US CPA, in contrast to what we learn and what we know from the CA standpoint. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Guys, I'm just trying to do a roll call again and again, just to make sure that you're awake. Can you give me a thumbs up, guys, that you are able to hear me and, of course, rightfully see me? That'll be really great for me, just to get an insight in terms of, yes, you are awake, and of course, you're looking forward to me. All right, moving on, one of the most commonly asked question for any candidate who's thinking about US CPA, and of course, this is effectively to answer the folks who have already made their mind and they're really thinking about doing US CPA. The criteria of US CPA is to have 120 credits. So what do you mean by credits? 120 credit is something that AICPA needs to ensure that you are qualified to appear for the US CPA exam. Now, 1 year of university education in India, which is your BCom, gives you 30 credits. So effectively, 3 years of graduation that you do, gives you 90 credits. So effectively, all of us who have done the BCom has 90 credits. However, CPA exam needs 120 credits. So effectively, from the eligibility standpoint, the folks who have done BCom, they need something more to be eligible for doing the CPA as a qualification. And that's where the BCom plus CA IPCC candidate is the one who readily qualifies, and they have the 120 credits to appear for the exam. The people who are chartered accountants, they're already there because they have the 120 credits available for them. They are eligible for that. People who are BCom and MCom, they're also eligible for it. And just to give a good news for the folks who only have BCom qualification, if you have done your BCom from NAC A accredited or A plus accredited universities, and you have scored first division, which is 60% and above, then you are also qualified to appear for the US CPA exam from some of the states, and you do not need anything else than that. So to put things to the perspective, the BComs from NAC A universities or A plus universities and colleges are eligible for appearing for the US CPA exam if they've scored 60 or above in their graduation at large. That's one. Second, BCom from any college, my friend, any university. But if you have that and you have CA IPCC in addition to that, or you have done MCom in relation to that, you've completed your MCom first year in relation to it, or you have any other qualification like CMA, inter or IPCC pass out, then you're again eligible to really appear for the exam. And that is one of the reasons, my friend, and we'll cover that in a while as we go forward, that CPA exam is very much relevant for the CA students because they are really eligible for it to appear for these exams. And we'll come upon in a while to discuss that as to why we think US CPA can be a game changer for all of you. Is that clear, guys? Yes, sir. Now quickly give me the thumbs up, my friend, or put something into the chat so that I know that you're aware and you're really listening to me and not missing on anything that we are covering over here. Guys, if you have any questions also for me to really answer, it'll be very much relevant for you to really put that on the chat box. The people who are seeing me on the YouTube, you can also do that. Put a question onto the comment box so that at least I know that these are the things that are really coming onto your mind and I can really pick that up, answer that as we go into the Q&A round towards the end. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Moving on, my friend, I have US exam pattern available to you. Now, you being a student, whether you're a BCom student, MCom student, whether you are a CA student, you must be having one thing onto your mind in terms of, what kind of subjects are there in the US CPA and what is the exam pattern that is there. So at least I should be knowing, right, as to what I really need to answer when I really sit for exam. And that is the reason I wanted to have that on the slide, just to make sure that you understand as to what all are the subjects that are there. We have 4 subjects in US CPA that you really need to appear. So effectively only 4 exams, my friend, that you really need to give to qualify as US CPA. And guess what? There is no exemptions to anyone. Even if you're a chartered accountant, even if you are a BCom or an MCom, or you are, let's say, a BCom and an IPCC, everyone has to give this 4 exam to get a qualification called CPA. There is no exemptions. You have to appear for these 4 exams. Now, these 4 exams are what? First of the exam, and of course, there is no sequence to it. You can follow any exam and you can give any exam that you may feel like. But the 4 exams are, the first one is financial accounting and reporting. I'm just saying first one as in, as a nomenclature. Any sequence, you can pick it up. One of the exam is financial accounting and reporting. That is nothing but the financial accounting exam that you have seen in your graduation or in your chartered accountancy. If you are doing chartered accountancy, you would have seen that. The only difference is that, of course, this is based on US GAAP, not the Ind AS or IFRS. It is based on US GAAP. The second exam or the next exam is the AUD, which is the auditing and attestation. Again, a similar exam we have seen in the graduation or in the chartered accountancy, which is nothing but the audit. But the only difference is that all the audit reports, all the audit norms, all the audit standards that you'll be learning over here would be nothing but based on the generally accepted auditing standards of US. We would have seen, when we do it in India, we go by the Indian auditing standards. When you do US CPA, you'll be learning the US auditing standards that is called GAS. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now, the third one or the next one is regulation, which is nothing but the taxation, my friend. You'll be learning the individual taxation, the corporate taxation, the partnership and whatnot. into this, you'll be learning various income tax returns that you need to file, like the taxation status that you really have over there, the kind of compliances that you really need to do as a company, as a corporate, the kind of companies that they have, the kind of returns that you need to really fulfill, the kind of compliances that you really need to really adhere to, and so on and so forth, as far as the US regulation is concerned. So you'll be learning the tax, but of the US as a geography. That is something that I would say is a difference, in relation to what you've already learned. But taxation provisions are taxation provisions. We know that. We have done that, sir. We have done the taxation in the graduation and, of course, in the chartered accountancy. We understand that. The only thing that we need to learn is as to what US has really to say from the standpoint of tax compliances and tax calculations. And we learn that, sir. That's in our blood, sir. We'll really, really jump off. I'm loving you, my friend, for that, because that is what it is all about. A regulation is something that I've already seen, I've already done. It is just that you have to really pick it up from the standpoint of, what US really says, incorporate that and get going. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now, the fourth subject of the next one is BEC, the business, environment, and concepts. Now, this is something I would say you have seen it at all. It is nothing but the combination of economics, business studies, and of course, technology. And I'm sure when you go through this, the kind of costing concepts that are there, you would understand that all of that you've already covered. So BCom students, I would say you have already covered this. CA students, you've already done it. You've already done and dusted that. It's already there in your blood. There is nothing exceptional over here as far as the overall curriculum is all about. These are the 4 exams that you need to appear, my friend. You have financial accounting and reporting, you have auditing and attestation, you have regulation, and then you have the business, environment, and concepts. These are the 4 exams that you need to appear to. And guess what? In the US CPA curriculum or in the exam, most of the questions are multiple choice questions. He'll give you, a question wherein you have the 4 choice. You have to take one, you have to answer that, and you have to move forward. And then of course, there are task-based simulations also, which is like more descriptive ones, wherein you'll be given a case, then you have to write it on it, and so on and so forth. And in the BEC, he also gives you a letter or a memo to prepare, testing on. I'm sorry, testing on to your communication skills. But most of the exam is multiple choice exam. All of the exams in US CPA are 4-hour exams. So you don't have to prepare for different timings. All are 4 hours. All have combinations of multiple choice questions and the simulation, barring, of course, the BEC, which has one written communication also as an area that examiner would be testing you on. Is that clear, guys? I would really look forward to your thumbs up or your comment if you are able to hear me out rightfully. Anybody, can you please comment on the chat box, guys, if you're able to hear me rightfully? Anusha, Diljit, Netik, anybody? Yes, sir. Rohan says yes, sir. Thanks, Rohan. Thanks. It's a way of really making sure that you're awake and you're not sleeping, guys. I know it is after lunch and it happens at times. Moving on, my friend, we have another one coming up, which is CA versus US CPA. I really want to, bring this slide to you just to make sure that you understand as to what this is all about. Many of the times, and I can tell you with various discussions that we have had with many of the folks around the corner, we all want to understand that, what is the difference between US CPA and CA. And this is what I really wanted to, bring it for you to just tell you in terms of, giving you a perspective as to what exactly is the difference from all of these standpoints. If I really want to talk on the eligibility or the starting point of both the qualifications, CA, of course, can be started after class 12th. But when it comes to US CPA, you can only start that after you've done your BCom, of course, with the conditions that we have, which is NAC A and NAC A plus universities and colleges. And then if you've done the MCom, or you've done the CA IPCC, or you're a qualified chartered accountant, that makes you eligible for this exam. So starting point is somewhat different of an Indian chartered accountancy and US CPA. Got it, sir? Pretty clear. Number of years taken. I've given an approximate number of years, my friend, as far as the CA is concerned, which is 3 to 4 years. It can be more. We have seen, it's not news to us. We have seen people spending good amount of years in chartered accountancy since the result pass out is very low. However, if you really compare that with US CPA, US CPA number of years taken to qualify that is generally from 12 months to 18 months kind of a time frame. 12 months is an average time when one student clear all the 4 exams. God forbid, if you're not able to, then maybe 3 to 6 more months. But within 18 months, most of the folks, they really clear the CPA exams. And you know why? Many of the folks, I'm sure there is a myth also, that is there, that many of you might be thinking or knowing or hearing from various sources that CPA is easy. But guys, let me tell you what, a very different thought to it. CPA is not easy. So while I'm saying that it will get completed in a year or 18 months or so, but it is not easy. And one of the element that I have in this chart is difficulty level, which I have given both, which is CA and CPA, to be an equal one, which is like it is a professional exam, and professional exam has to be difficult, and it is a difficult exam. But even if it is difficult, why you clear it in 1 year is because you can give this exam one by one. You'll appear, you can choose any sequence that you want, but you'll appear these exams one by one. There is no group over here which makes you clear these exams in an early fashion as compared to Indian chartered accountancy. And that's where you save a lot amount of time. That's something that we will be talking on when we'll be discussing in terms of why we think US CPA can be a better choice or a good choice or a right decision for yourself if you're really appearing for the chartered accountancy. But I really want to circle that out, that you should be knowing this any which ways. Number of exams, we have 20 exams over here in chartered accountancy. In US, as we spoke, there are 4 exams. Then comes to exam pattern, my friend. In CA, there are mostly descriptive exams, of course, barring the foundation, wherein you get some of the multiple choice questions. But else than that, there is mostly descriptive or long I would say answers kind of a thing that you really need to give. In US CPA, there are most of the exam, at least 60 to 70% of the exam is multiple choice. Group system in CA, we know there are group of 3, 4, whatever, we have exams to be given, at different level that we really deal with. In US CPA, there is no group system. You give exam one by one and you just move by it. From the difficulty level, we have already spoken on that. Both exams, both the qualifications are equally difficult. There is nothing easy any which ways. Now, cost. Now, cost is something, many of the folks at times feel that, since it is a US qualification, it will be really expensive. And of course, they have to spend a good amount of money and so on and so forth. But I can tell you, my friend, if you really total out the cost that you would be spending on in the chartered accountancy, and then if you total out the cost that you would be spending in US CPA, it is almost the same. Almost the same. If you total out the examination fees, the coaching fees in your chartered accountancy, and if you total out the same in your CPA, the cost component is almost the same. And that's where, I really want this to be an eye-opener for all of you, that while it is a US qualification, it is not that expensive the way we feel. We have to appreciate and know that. If you have any question in relation to cost, and of course, we are into the US CPA qualification day in and day out, you can reach out to FinTram Global. I will be providing the details, after this presentation. You can reach out to us. We can really help you out in terms of, ensuring that you're able to complete the US CPA qualification in the least cost. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now, coming on to the scope, my friend, and I do not run away from saying this. Chartered accountancy has a very wide scope of your career in the Indian market and as well as in many of the countries. And the same is with US CPA. In fact, many of the courses, and I can tell you, if you really vouch yourself and go and of course type US CPA jobs on the Google, you will yourself understand how many jobs are there for US CPA in India and outside India. And of course, when you'll type US, even when you will type Indian CA jobs in India and outside India, you would find CA/CPA being written over there, because that's how market really understand and give value to US CPA as a qualification. So from the scoping standpoint, both the qualifications have a very wide scope. There is no one better than the other. I think both of the qualification have their own merits and own scope. Uh, the only edge I think US CPA has is that US CPA effectively open up your gates to various global qualifications or global opportunities, and which is larger than the Indian CA, because US as a country and US CPA as a qualification is recognized in more than 200 countries, and that's one of the reason you would get jobs anywhere in the world if you are a US CPA qualified. Not that CA doesn't get it, but it has a limited reach as compared to US CPA because we have limited recognition outside India. I am an Indian CA and I am a US CPA qualified. I can tell you with what I have learned, what I've experienced over a period of time working with different companies in different geographies. Basis of the US CPA qualification is, of course, US GAAP and GAS. Basis of Indian CA is Ind AS, as we call it, Indian Accounting Standards. This is the basic difference, my friend, I really wanted to pinpoint and highlight as far as the US CPA and CA is concerned. Now, this is something you all have to understand, appreciate, and have that at the back of your mind, and then decide what is the right way for yourself. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Coming on to the most interesting slide, my friend, why we think US CPA is a right choice for CA students or for BComs or for MComs or the ones who really want to have a very bright career in finance in India and outside India. Without reading onto the slide, one thing that I can really tell you that is very much relevant for all of you, my friend, if you're really thinking about US CPA as a qualification. If I know that there is a route that is chartered accountancy, and if I know that there is a route that is US CPA, if I know that both of these routes, both of these ways, both of these qualifications can really take me to the peak of the finance, but in one area, in one qualification, that is Indian Chartered Accountancy, I'm not that sure that I'll be able to qualify. But in US CPA, while I'm not that sure, but my possibility or probability of qualifying is much high as compared to Indian CA, because I will give one exam at a time and I only have to give 4 exams. Then should I not be choosing US CPA as a qualification? Now, many of the Indian CA students, they don't have an understanding of it. And that is the reason, my friend, we are here to really guide you that this one is really for you, at least for the folks who are stuck in CA for whatsoever reason, my friend. And again, I'm not trying to demoralize you, my friend. I really want you to continue your chartered accountancy and clear that also. But if you're really thinking of something to be created as an alternative for you, so that even if you're not able to clear your CA, even if, God forbid, you're not able to clear your CA, if you can clear your CPA on the sides, then you would achieve the same milestone and same peak of your life by this qualification, even if you do not have Indian CA with you. That is something we all have to learn and appreciate, my friend. There are, I would say, huge number of people in the country who are struggling to clear Indian CA for whatsoever reason. And I'm not trying to demotivate you guys, but all I'm trying to give you is the direction that at least think through that what is the next best alternative that is available to you, which is easy to achieve, which is somewhat easy to achieve, or somewhat more probable for you to achieve, and get it going in your life and achieve what you really desire and what you really deserve to achieve. You really have to be smarter on this front, my friend. And that is the reason, my friend, I think US CPA is a classical qualification for any and every CA student, or for BComs or for MComs, because this really paves your way, not only for the Indian I would say job market, but also for the Indian international job market. The reason I say, and of course, I have bucketed out few reasons. You are eligible, my friend, if you're IPCC or BCom for that matter, as we have spoken and so seen on the eligibility slide. You get eligible for that. You have to understand that you're eligible, and by only clearing the 4 exams, you can be there. The second important reason is the familiarity, my friend, of these subjects. These subjects that are there in US CPA, you're already familiar with it. The only thing that you need to learn is the different accounting standard or auditing standard or taxation provisions. If you can learn that, you can just clear it. There is no rocket science in it. And that is the reason results of CPA in India is extremely high. We are proud to say that we are able to generate 96%, 95%, 94%, and, the kind of a pass out results, that we have, who are able to clear CPA in the given amount of time, which is not more than 18 months of time, my friend, which is huge in terms of achievement. We can give one by one exam, my friend, which is certainly not there in chartered accountancy. There are better pass rate. Of course, one of the reason is having one by one exam. The cost is almost the same. So they are not incurring good amount of cost, over and above what you would really expect for an international qualification to really bring on table. Cost is not that high. There is huge job market. I don't have to say this. You take any big four, take any multinational companies that has some kind of link in US or in Europe, they're all ready to hire US CPA. You can just go and vouch yourself, see yourself onto the Naukri, onto the Indeed, and whatsoever, you would get to know about yourself. Gateway to the global roles, global profiles, because this effectively is a qualification of US, so widely recognized, widely acceptable. That certainly gives you an edge in terms of, really having an exposure or acceptability to various global MNCs. And last but not the least is it takes less time. You only have to appear 4 exams one by one, makes hell lot easier for you. 3 months, is something that we target to prepare you for one exam. And that's what we have been doing to the student fraternity at large and have been very successful in that too. It'll just take 3 months of time to prepare for one exam. Give one exam at a time, clear it within 12 to 15 months of time. You will be a qualified CPA. Go and hit the market. Sky's the limit. Is that clear, my friend? I just needed some kind of thumbs up, my friend, just to ensure that you're hearing me, you're knowing me, and of course, seeing me rightfully, my friend, just to ensure that you are really awake, my friend. Now, that's the mantra that we follow in our sessions also, my friend, just to make sure that you're not sleeping, just to ensure that we are there on the same page. Now, that is what I had, my friend, in terms of covering that you really need to know from the US CPA standpoint. And I really wanted to give you a perspective as to why we feel US CPA is one of the better choices for CA students. I can tell you my own history, my friend. I did my CA in India. And after that, I realized that only CA can take me to a different, to a level. If I really need to excel my career and of course, bring a very different speed to my career, I have to have one additional international qualification. I chose US CPA because US CPA has the wider acceptability. And guess what? The rest is history, my friend. I was able to join various multinationals at very different level in a very, very different positioning. And, all I would say is that has really helped me do what I do, what I've done in my life. And of course, the success that I was able to achieve is something that is commendable. I really have one slide over here, my friend, that really gives you the perspective. We have, we are bringing the US CPA course in conjunction with Becker. Becker is I would say is a synonym of US CPA as a qualification. We are proud to say that the content that we provide, the sessions that we provide are the world class, and of course with such a high higher, I would say, high pass out rates. There is no brainer for any one of you to really think about where you need to go for in terms of starting your US CPA journey from. I provided all the details, my friend, over here in terms of reaching out to us, and of course our website is also there. You can certainly reach out to us, and we'll be happy to take this on. While I say that, my friend, I'm open up. I'm happy to really take any questions anyone may have. I'll be happy to discuss, happy to chat, and if there is anything that I can really help you out with, I'll be more than happy to discuss that. You can type down your questions, my friend, in the chat, and I'll be happy to pick it up and answer that there and then. For the folks who are seeing us on the YouTube, you can also, of course, put the questions on the on the I would say chat, my friend, on the comment box, and we'll be happy to pick that up too. Any questions, guys, anyone may have, I'll be happy to picking that up and to answer that. You can just type down, my friend. I'll be more than happy to answer your queries or concerns or questions anyone may have with regards to US CPA, and we'll be more than happy to bring that up for you and answer that for you in whatsoever way possible. Any question anybody has? Ramesh, Harleen, Aidan, Rohan, Diljit, anybody, Priyesh, anything that you have, my friend? See, the intention is to make this helpful for you, not to confuse you for whatever reason. So Ramesh says that, sir, I'm confused between ACCA and CPA. It is bound to happen, Ramesh. It is really bound to happen, and I'm not surprised that you're confused with it. It is bound to happen. Both the qualifications are equally good. So, if one is choosing out, one versus the other, they really have to put through what they really want in their life. I can tell you, the reason I chose CPA at that point in time was because I wanted to do work for the US companies, and I was getting that work there at that point in time. For example, at that point in time, I was with Wipro, and Wipro had to comply with various US GAAP compliances and areas and so on and so forth. And of course, I chose US CPA because I wanted to be there from their delivery standpoint. But if you are thinking about ACCA versus CPA, all I can tell you is that you have to really think about which companies you want to target and what kind of profiles you need to target to. Both the qualifications are equally good. There is none of the qualifications are better than the other. The only thing is that ACCA has more European tinge of it and CPA has more US tinge of it. So if you're thinking about getting onto the European side, learning the IFRSs, working for European companies and working for companies who have connects in the Europe, then ACCA is the right choice. But if you're thinking about companies to have more global visibility, more global acceptability, then US, of course, as a country, has a better acceptability across the globe. I'm not undermining ACCA for that. But I do feel that CPA as a qualification, considering it is coming from US, has better in comparison to ACCA or Indian CA, has a better acceptability. But while it will be very minutely better, but it is still better as compared to any other qualification. So if that is what you're really thinking about, you want to work on the US, Canada side of it, then CPA is the qualification for it. So Diljit says, how many hours one must study for CPS? So I am presuming it is CPA. So Diljit, I think it's very difficult to point out this, point blank that, these are the number of hours that you would need. But I can tell you the total number of hours that we try to target in CPA is around 250 hours. So 250 hours is something that we expect that you would need to study to complete the entire content and of course be ready for the exam. You can say 80 to 100 hours per subject is something that you would need in order to qualify and clear the exam. Nishan says, what is the total cost of CPA? Total cost of CPA, if you include the evaluation, testing, and of course the coaching too, is around 3.5 lakhs of rupees. And as I said, Nishant, you can reach out to us. I've given all the details any which ways. You can reach out to us, and we'll be able to help you in the best possible way. I'm providing the details over here. You can reach out to us. The website details and everything is here, and we'll be more than happy to I would say help you and support you in whatever way possible. Is CPA is giving you signing authority? Not in India, my friend Rohan. You would not get a signing authority in India. In India, the signing authority is only available to an Indian chartered accountant. The US CPA or ACCA for that matter, they do not have a signing authority in India. For having a signing authority for a CPA, you have to go to US and of course, work over there, and then you would be having a signing authority over there. CPA doesn't have signing authority in India. Let's be clear on that. On YouTube, Sumit says, course fees commences at under 10K. Could you please elaborate and also share the timings? Sumit, I would, for the fee and other related details, I would say, you can reach out to the number and of course the website details that I've given you. They can explain you everything in detail, and you can take it on from there. This is a good question. Ramesh says, what salary can we expect after completing all the 4 papers of CPA? One beautiful thing about CPAs, and this is something, I've been hearing a lot from various sources, that thankfully, the demand of US CPA is much higher than the supply, which is what makes you, a cookie that everyone would need after you have done your CPA, because your demand would be there in many of the companies, despite the fact that they're not able to fulfill it because they do not have those many CPAs available. That is the reason the CPA salaries are also on a higher scale. Generally a fresh, newly qualified CPA in the market gets around 8 to 10 lakhs of rupees. And of course, it depends, you can get more from, depending upon where you're getting hired to. And of course, it depends more in terms of, what profile you're really getting it to. But 8 to 10 lakh is something that you can reasonably expect as a freshly qualified CPA. But if you are a good candidate, and of course, corporates are really, as I said, looking forward to it. If they have the right role, salary can be 12 to 15 lakhs too, depending upon, what you really bring on table. How many exams in a year, Priyesh? There are only 4 exams in CPA, and that's what you really need to do. And that's what you really need to appear for. Naitik says, sir, how to begin with book classes registration? Naitik, just reach out to, as I said, the entire course, I've provided the details of us. You can reach out to us. Number is also provided over here. You can reach out to us, email us, and we'll be more than happy to help you in terms of taking you the journey forward. Also, would it be prudent decision to take on CPA with 21 years of experience in operations management? What is the scope ahead for me at this juncture? Sumit, honestly, I'll ask you a very different question. Why would you want to do CPA if you're already having 21 years of experience in operations? And there is one reason that comes to my mind is that you want to have a stepping stone in finance, because you must be thinking that finance with an operation management can really do wonders. I'm only thinking aloud, and you can, Sumit, correct me if I'm wrong. But if that is the case, then you're absolutely right. If you have the operations experience and if you have the finance peak qualification, that effectively makes you a very good candidature to become a COO, not CEO, COO of any organization down the line, or CFO for that matter, in any organization down the line. You may not get it right away, my friend, but if you have a qualification like this as a icing on the cake onto the experience that you have in the operations management, you don't know how much you can gain in the market, because market really needs the experience coupled with the knowledge. And if you have it, sky's the limit. Nishant says, all the classes are on the live mode or recorded mode. Will it be taken by you only? Not only me, Nishant. I would certainly be taking the classes. I am there, but not all the classes I can take. There is a mix. We have a team that takes on the classes over here. All of them are the qualified CPAs. Will all the classes will be on the live mode? Yes, we have the live mode, and we have a combination that we use with the recorded mode. So you would be getting the recording of the classes, as well as there will be weekend sessions wherein we will be having the live sessions. So it is a combination of recorded plus live that can really make you sail through. And I'm sure within 3 months of time, you'll clear one exam and the other one and the other one and the other one, Nishant. And after 12 months, you'll be treating me with a cup of coffee. I've never seen somebody explaining. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Any other questions, guys? Anyone may have? I'm happy to answer. We still have a couple of more minutes. Training and work ex requirements for obtaining license. Yes, my friend. There is a training requirement that is there, and work experience requirement there for obtaining the license. And it depends from one state to the other in US. We can certainly help you out on that. But Nishant, one thing I can tell you, licensing is only required if you want to practice in US. if you don't want to practice in US, licensing itself is not needed. You just get a qualification of CPA and go ahead and hit the Indian market, and sky's the limit, my friend, in terms of the job that you can do. So don't really be bothered on licensing. But if you're really thinking about practicing in US, we can certainly help you, in terms of, which state to go and obtain license for, and what kind of things that you're needed. We can really talk through on that. Scope of CPA in Indian market, I would say, Nete, go and type CPA jobs in India. I don't have to explain you this. You would be stunned and astonished seeing the kind of jobs that are there in the Indian market for the CPAs. As I said, the need of the CPA is much more than the supply, and that is what you really need to have it in your mind. Anybody else, guys? Anyone may have? I'm happy to really come on front and answer that. I'm sorry, I have a bad throat today. I'm really struggling with that. Ramesh, I'm not clear. What do you mean by good combination with CPA? I'm really not clear with that. Is there any exemption available? No exemption available. I'm sorry, my friend, there is no exemptions. Sumit, I hear you. Don't worry. We can really pick that up. And I'm sure, with us, you'll be able to clear it in one go. Don't worry on that. Reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you on that. Any other questions, guys? Anyone may have before we really wrap up? How is the combination CPA plus CFA? I would say, Ramesh, it's a very personal call that you have. There is nothing wrong with it. CFA is a very very smart and an intelligent qualification, and so does CPA. I would say it really depends on which field you want to get into, which companies you want to work for. Depending upon that, you can certainly make a choice. CPA plus CFA is an excellent choice. I don't see there is any harm with it. All right, guys, I think that's what we have in terms of questions that we really want to talk on. It was pleasure being here, my friend. I hope this session was somewhere useful. I'm happy to have any feedback, or any comments that you have for the session. The folks who are on the YouTube, at least I can expect you to press the like button and of course give your comments with regards to how did you find this session useful for you. And if there is any specific area, that you have in your mind for me to really pick it up for another webinar or for another Q&A that you really need to have, do put it in the comment box on the YouTube, and of course, over here in the Zoom also. I'll be happy to pick it up, my friend. Of course, we'll come back again with a session, again with a webinar that can help you take the right decision for yourself. So just type it in terms of what area you want us to cover, and we'll be more than happy to come again to you to serve you in the best possible way. Thank you very much, guys. This is Pankaj Dhingra. I just wanted to, give you my 2 cents on this qualification. And if there is any query, any concerns, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to pick it up. Till then, this is Pankaj Dhingra signing off.